bouge. Enfin. Vous mettez la brosse à lèvres.
Okay, we can hide from the truth no longer. It is staring us right in the face. RDR is actually good. He possesses an appropriate amount of the sauce. It's a weird sauce, a perplexing concoction to be fair, but he's got it. He went in there against Robert Whittaker, and although it was close, he came away with the win. And yes, he won that fight. I'm tired of people beating their chests and shrieking like banshees every time a razor-close decision doesn't go the direction they wanted it to. Obviously, we all wanted Robert Whittaker to win. Everyone loves Bobby Knuckles, and I don't think many would be opposed to seeing him get one last stab at a title run. But he did not win this fight. I had it 2-2 going into the 5th, and I can't really see the argument that DeRitter didn't take it. It was clinch heavy and ball numbing as a viewing experience, yeah, but he pretty easily took it. One thing I do want to reject outright is the idea that Rob doesn't have it anymore, that he's washed. That is a big steaming truckload of manure. He's definitely not his prime anymore, that's obvious to see. This isn't quite the same guy that was going on a tear 3 or 4 years ago. He's getting a little older and a little slower, but he is still elite. I think the reason a lot of people were saying this is because he was slowing down towards the end of the fight, but for some reason no one thought this was due to the thousands of knees being force-fed into his solar plexus by Rainier for half an hour. Nope, gotta be washed. These are the same knees that sent Bo Nickel careening into the floor the fight prior, but Whittaker was just eating them with a knife and fork. Also, again, this fight was close as hell. I do think RDR did enough to take the dub, but I wouldn't have been furious at Whittaker getting the nod. Maybe just a smidge annoyed, but only a smidge. I do not want to see Mr. Knuckles hang him up just yet. Hold your horses, partner. There's work to be done.
A lot of things I liked about the fight, there were a lot of things I didn't, but I'm going to take it all, head back to the gym, sit with the team, pick it apart, and then get back on the horse.
Anyways, let's get into the real peanut butter and jelly of this sandwich. Rainier DeRitter is a goddamned enigma. This dude is a straight up cryptid. I really wasn't high on him whatsoever when he made his UFC debut last year against GM3. I thought he looked slow and uncoordinated. Even though he was able to get the finish against old Mearshart, it was way tougher than I thought it was going to be from a former double champ caliber fighter. I was left thinking, just how bad is the middleweight picture over in one if this was their guy? Because I'm going to be straight up honest, just laying the cards out there. I am a stinky little casual when it comes to organizations outside the UFC, whether it be ONE or PFL or Octagon. I don't really keep up with them like that. I'll catch an occasional card here and there, and I certainly should make more time to support other promotions so I'm not just giving all my gold doubloons to the monopoly that is the UFC. But truthfully, it's just a lot to keep up with. I'm honestly better at staying in a loop with boxing than I am anything else MMA has going on. So I didn't really get it. I didn't really know how big of a deal this guy was over in ONE. And like I said, was not terribly impressed.
I heard John Jones was out there. Did you try to look him up and see what he thought about your performance or anything?
Yeah, I was looking at if I saw him, but I didn't see him anymore. But I got him with an elbow, right? So, John, come on.
That's awesome.
So then he gets matched up against Kevin Holland earlier this year, and you can actually go back to one of my first uploads, which is basically just a boring-ass, bog-standard prediction-style video, where I actually picked Holland to be able to starch him on the feet, which looking back is absolutely brain-dead, but his debut performance against GM3 was so fecal that I thought this was one of those where Holland would actually be able to look pretty good, but nope. RDR manhandled and submitted him. So I was like, okay, that was a lot better. And Holland is a good win, but still nothing amazing since he honestly had no business being at 185. He was just way too small. And then they put him in there with the human equivalent of a mound of coleslaw that your friend insists you put on your chicken sandwich. Like, nah, no thanks, buddy. You can place that coleslaw directly into a furnace. But your friend keeps insisting and you try it and eventually you cave and you do, and sure enough, ruin the sandwich. Yeah, I'm talking about Bo Nickel. I actually picked him to beat Bo Nickel. I thought he'd churn him into butter, to be sure, and he did end up doing that, to be sure. But I wasn't ready to say this guy has enough sauce to get in there with the elite 185ers and cause any real problems. I just didn't see him being able to do it. Despite the streak he was on, he had way too many habits that just stressed me the fuck out. Whether it be punching and kicking like he's fighting at the bottom of the ocean, or backing away from punches straight back with his chin on a platter, or kneeling down to snatch single legs like he's picking up a nickel from the floor. There were just too many bad habits. I was convinced he's getting chinned at some point. But the guy keeps winning. Doesn't matter how bad he looks in spots, he keeps pulling it off. And now he has the skull of a former champion and very much still good Robert Whittaker. He's proven he belongs in the big leagues, even if he moves like this.
May I help you? You must be Leonard.
Okay, he's not He's not that bad. I'm being an asshole. That's silly. So before this weekend's fight night, I thought it would behoove me to go back and watch all of his one championship bouts just to get a better idea of how he'd do in a higher ranked fight in the UFC. I wanted to see if these habits and overall style of fighting was always like this or if he had somehow gotten worse over time. But sure enough, after watching all of them, this dude's always fought like this. He's always moved like a stick bug, but he's found a way to make it work. And there are a few reasons for this. First of all, the man is fucking enormous for middleweight. Not just his overall frame, but his reach is ridiculous, and his overall build just has very Wendigo qualities, for better or worse. He's able to get away with lazy jabs, slow kicks, and random single legs with no explosive power just because he's so gangly, and it's all just an excuse to get a hold of his opponent. He'll throw stuff out there just to get a hold of you, and usually once he does, he's stuck to you like Velcro. Man is a cephalopod in the clinch and on the ground. Once he's in those positions, he looks a lot more comfortable throwing knees and hip tossing or tripping his opponents to the ground. And save for a few examples, once he gets on top of people, he's either dominant for the remainder of the round, or he finds his way to a submission from pretty much any angle he wants. He's genuinely really damn good in these departments. And there is actually one thing he does in the feet that I like a lot that he uses against a lot of opponents, but especially Whitaker, and that's his knees. They aren't fast at all. It is graceless. Absolutely zero zip or pop on them. But there's something about the way he just glides into range with them. It's very bizarre to look at, but he was devouring Whitaker with them pretty much the entire fight. So yeah, watching his older fights gave me a better appreciation for his strengths and how he's able to get away with his weaknesses, for the most part. I get why he became double champ, and I get why he's ranked in the UFC. Dude's special. And the comparisons to DDP are unavoidable, as everyone had a similar reaction to watching that dude stumble and flop around to the title shot. But both of these gentlemen are proving time and time again that it ain't gotta be pretty. As long as you know where you're good and where you're not, and how to force the fight to be on your terms, you can make things happen. I think a bout between these two is inevitable, and I'm kind of excited for it, honestly. It is going to be a very goofy watch, but I think it'll be a good scrap. I will say though, I think RDR struggles with aggressive forward pressure opponents who can chuck him off against the cage. Obviously Anatoly had his number in both fights and basically just bullied him, but there is an earlier one against Leandro Ataides, forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, where he got the nod but straight up did not win. He did not win that fight. Leandro was kind of piecing him up. He kind of flounders on the back foot, so in the event that they fight, I kind of see DDP taking that one. But I do still want to see it. But who knows? If both of these guys have taught us anything, is that you can't ever count either of them out. Some Looney Tunes shenanigans are always on the table.